Here we are, folks, back at the Coralvue booth, and with our best man here, Connor. Connor is going to give us a quick rundown on the Hydros Kraken that we have out here.
So storm season is here, and if you have not seen the Kraken, it is a monster power supply, right? This is a power distribution center. I don't think there's anything else like this on the market, especially for the aquarium market, but let's talk about this. There are some new ports on here, and if you know Hydros, we're all about color coding ports. The Kraken is the only one with these red force ports on it. Now we have drive ports as well for 12-volt items like CO2 solenoids, water solenoids, dosers, anything 12 volt, we can put that on a drive port. But the force ports are 24 volts. So you all know all those black power bricks you have under your tank, it's a spaghetti mess of cables down there, right? So if you flip those black power bricks over and that output says it's 24 volts, you can eliminate that power supply, right? 24 volts, less than 10 amps each. You can eliminate that power supply and go directly on.
So you pretty much remove the part from the plug till the brick.
Exactly.
And the other connector which goes to the brick, instead of putting in the brick, you put it over here.
Exactly correct. At the end of that brick is a barrel connector, right?
Right.
So we don't need that barrel connector. We are going to mimic that after the GX12 here, right?
Okay.
Most barrel connectors, at least the ones we use and we use for ice cap and reef octopus, are all 5.5 mils. However, if your pump, your light, your whatever you're trying to power doesn't fit that, we also have an adapter kit for that goes at 5.5 to whatever you're trying to power, right? So we can really make that a universal connector. But you can eliminate that power supply, that 24 volt power supply, 8 times over. 8 times over, you get rid of 8 of those power bricks and power it from an industrial grade mean well power supply.
All right.
Industrial grade. So now we've eliminated the spaghetti mess. We've splash proof and dust proof the power supplies, right? Because now they're on a GX12 connector. So now it's bringing a battery backup. A 12 volt lead acid battery behind here is giving redundancy to this. This is the mean well power supply, but behind here, I do have a lead acid battery.
Like a car battery.
Exactly, like a car battery. Now, that could be 1 battery, that could be 2 batteries, that could be a big battery, that could be a small battery. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it, right? So we can identify a low power mode, and what are we doing in low power mode? Well, we'll turn this light off, we'll turn this off, we'll keep this pump on, we'll do this with this pump. We identify what we want it to do and incorporate it into the system, and that's the Kraken.
Right. Now, does this, obviously this would be really great if you have a power outage and you need to keep the cycling, the water running for oxygen. So does it matter if you have to use only the Reef Opto power heads, or you could use any other brand?
It does depend on certain brands, because it does have to be a quality as it's switched power, because that 24 volt goes to 12 volt when it goes to low power mode, right? So things will go in half. If that pump is scheduled to run at 100%, it's going to be running at 100% at 12 volts, which is 50%, right? So most of our equipment, or all of our equipment, does in fact work on that inverter. However, you do need to test to make sure that the equipment that you're putting on there can in fact operate at that shorter voltage.
Okay, wonderful. And just out of the box, you get the Kraken and the brick, this transformer.
Exactly correct. Out of the box, you'll get the Kraken itself, the mean well power supply, and you'll get the battery backup cable. Past that, you will need to get the cables, the force port cables that you need, as we don't know exactly what you're going to be setting up, how you're going about it. There are currently 2 types of cables, right? The barrel connectors that we talked about, they go from GX12 to barrel connector. The second type of cable is that Hydros to Hydros, right? So it's that GX12 to GX12 for other Hydros devices. So if you have a Wave Engine LE, a Wave Engine, an XD, a Soul, you know, you can power that directly from the Kraken itself, right?
Now, these are all the X3s, X4s, right? You also have the X10, which I think is with the dosing pump, right? Could a customer also use this configuration and connect the X10?
That's a great question.
With the dosing?
It does. That's the glory of Hydros. It doesn't matter where you start. They always link together, right? And what we call the collective, right? Multiple devices working together is a collective of units. It's a neural net of safety. notice all of them, all Hydros devices have those blue command bus ports right there. And that's how we link that cable together.
Okay.
Yep, to supply power and information, right?
Awesome.
Exactly.
Now, you did mention on the battery backup cable, so this cable, obviously, it's sold separately.
That one does come with it.
Oh, it comes with it, okay.
It comes with the battery backup cable.
I would want to show it to our customers, like how does this connect to the actual battery behind?
Yeah, let's see here. And we can see this battery right there. It's on the terminals right there. Now this is a smaller 12-volt lead acid battery, but enough for our shows. But yeah, the LEDs just go right on top.
All right, so it comes with the red and blue on either side of the port. You can connect it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Red goes to red, black goes to black.
Black, okay.
Yep, exactly correct. And like I said, it could be a small battery, it could be a big battery, it could be a mini battery.
It could be like a pretty big battery from Costco, anyone.
A 12-volt lead acid battery is what works out of the box. 12-volt lead acid.
Awesome. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Perfect. So here you are, folks. That's the Kraken. And I want to trouble you also on the Maven. I know we have done a great review last year with you in the booth out here. I know you guys are still working on the nitty-gritties to make sure the product is rock solid.
It's worth it.
So
I'm telling you,
tell us how much time more, or a rough estimate, like what are we really waiting on?
We're not gonna present a time to set expectations, right?
Okay.
Calcium, alkalinity, nitrate, phosphate, magnesium are going nowhere in this hobby, right?
Yes.
So let's have a machine that is redundant, repeatable, and future-proof. We always harp about no Hydros device ever goes obsolete. So let's really make sure that's true on this device. That is the epitome of Hydros, that auto tester, right? Okay. So make sure to watch our CDTV video we did on YouTube and for that Maven update, because we have a lot of information on there, more than we could even cover here, and that's from the big bosses as well. Right. But this is the Maven. We have it on display here. Yeah. We've gone through iterations. We've got a bigger cuvette on there, and we can even see the iterations that we're displaying on the shelf over there. But one fun thing that we can talk about is this is going to be a product. This is the Maven display board right here. This is actually going to be available for purchase. Now we have a standard caddy as well. We have a standard caddy as well if you don't want the whole display, so you can easily put all your reagents inside of there. Nice. We have the reagent caddy, but if you do want something a little fancier, if you do want to display it. Okay. Exactly, we have this. So now,
obviously this will be sold separately, available for purchase.
Exactly correct. It would be available for purchase, right? Holds all your reagents in there, holds it back. It has a French cleat on the back as well, so you're able to mount that onto the wall. Exactly. Right now we have the optional feet on.
Gotcha. Exactly. Now, would the reagents bottle be just like that, or there are still plans to change the...
Nothing at this time is exactly set in stone, but they are going to be glass. They are going to be glass, and they are going to have the QR codes on it to track the batch numbers, to track the patches, everything like that. Absolutely.
Awesome. And again, not trying to dwell into more information, which may be confidential at this time, but let's say if a customer, once we have the Maven launched and it's retailing, and customer wants the reagents, obviously the supplies to stock them, want to replenish what's over, does it have like a shelf life for an open bottle and an unopened bottle? Like even for dealers like us, once we stock reagents until it's sold, would it be like a shelf life for dealers to sell by so-and-so date, and customers to use it by so-and-so date?
There, of course, once you crack the bottle, there will, of course, be an expiration on it, but we haven't gone through and said what those times are. Awesome. That's still going through rigorous testing. We want to make sure that we can get the most out of it and the most efficiency for you guys, right? So with that being said, I'm not going to say an official date to hold an expectation, but I mean, if you kind of know our motto, we're really trying to do our best and make it right.
For sure.
So stay tuned for that information, but we're really working hard.
Right. But so in essence, it will definitely follow the industry standard of having a box which is not open, still having a shelf life to be sold by XYZ date.
Exactly. Well, and here's one thing to go along with that is we're not going to pigeonhole you into testing multiple times a day. Right. So you're not forced to test 4 or 5 times a day by any means. You can test as much or as little as you like. You're just going to burn through reagent at a faster rate. Right. But with that being said, if you're like, oh, well, I'm only testing nitrate once a week, right? Well, that's all fine and dandy, but remember, once you do crack that bottle, let's make sure you get all the tests that you paid for out of that before that expiration date hits.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right?
So it's a question of either you're going on testing to have your results in check, or you just check what you have to, test what you have to check, but you still have a time ticking on the bottle because it's cracked open.
Exactly. So make sure you get your money's worth.
Awesome, awesome. Perfect. Connor, thank you as always. This is a great update on it. Appreciate that.
Until next time.
And until next time, take care.